Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from the beautiful metaverse. And this is Reverend Don's vlog. And this is our third vlog of the new year. And as I've remarked in the last couple, this is a new format for me. So I'm still learning it, so I hope you'll bear with me. And today, as I had said in the last vlog, our question comes to us from Elaine, whose question is, how do you know that you're a witch? And I'm only using Elaine's first name because she did not ask the question directly from me, but rather asked it on the Witch School for Beginners page. And if you're interested in learning about magic and witchcraft, Witch School for Beginners on Facebook is a lovely page to join. There are lots of people there with lots of information for you. In this case, I'm going to answer the question here on the vlog, and the question again is, how do you know that you're a witch? And my answer to this is, well, that's the easy part. The hard part is, what do you mean by witch? Witch is one of those words which is so widely used by so many people in so many different ways that you really kind of have to ask, what do you mean, before you can answer the question. For some people, a witch is anyone who does any kind of magic. For some people, anyone who does any kind of psychic work or magic might be called a witch, particularly if it comes to them naturally. Although that could be the subject of a whole other vlog, and in fact has been in the past. For some people, the term witch refers to people who practice religious witchcraft and belong to specific traditions, such as British or Eclectic Wicca, or other kinds of religious witchcraft that are out there. And for some people, it's specifically a pagan priesthood that would come under the title of witch. And all of these have different answers for how you would know that you're a witch, because it depends what you mean by witch. So let's look at a couple of them. I think that what Elaine is asking is based on the idea of a witch as a person who has a natural aptitude for psychic and magical activities. And in that case, how would you know you're a witch? Well, you'd know because you were having those experiences naturally. And if that's what you mean by witch and you're having those experiences, well, then you can kind of assume that you are, but you still should study. And one of the things that I advise people is that even if you have a natural aptitude, you still need to learn how to properly control it. And you will find that you'll have much more positive experiences with your natural aptitude for psychic and magical activities if you know how to control it. If, on the other hand, we're referring to anyone who does psychic or magical work, well, you would know that you're a witch because you were doing that. And this is something that you would decide for yourself as a path you wanted to follow if you're using the word that way. If you're referring to someone who belongs to a specific movement, then it really depends on what that movement is. If you're a member of the Eclectic Wicca movement, you can pretty much decide for yourself, yes, I am a witch. If, however, what you mean by witch is a specific priesthood, well, that might be different. There might be specific training that's required for that, and you would know you were a witch when your teacher said, yes, now you are a witch. So there are different answers to this question depending on what you mean. And this is one of the biggest confusions I think we have in the contemporary community, because people are having these questions and conversations without defining their terms, and they end up arguing over things that they really are not at different points of view over, but rather are using the words differently. So what I would encourage you to do is define yourself according to whichever use you're using, but remember that other people might use it differently. So if someone is saying something that does not conform to your idea of what it is to be a witch, remember, their idea may be different. And this is a very ancient word. It has many different meanings, and it's been used differently by different people for a very long time. One of the things that you'll sometimes encounter, by the by, is the statement that people did not use witch as a self-descriptor until the 1950s or 60s, and that people who practiced witchcraft called themselves cunning folk. And that might be true in Britain. It is not true in the United States. There were a lot of people using the self-descriptor of witch in the United States. Probably the most familiar example is a water witch, a person who practiced dowsing to find water or for other purposes. There were other circumstances in which people were professional witches and termed it exactly that way. So that's also a use of the word and an older use of the word that some people will try to tell you did not exist, but read the histories. You'll find it did. So these are my thoughts on the matter. I hope you find them helpful. And again, define yourself according to how you are using the word. And if other people disagree, point out how you use the word, and you may resolve that disagreement. Thank you for your time, and until next time, may you blessed be.